Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, I want to go over design options. What you see here is the basic sample project that comes with Revit. So go ahead and open that up now. It's on the main menu and you can then access the sample architecture project. Now, you don't necessarily have to use this project. You could even use the project you worked on during Revit Essentials and Intermediate. But since most of you have access to this project already, I thought this would be good to start with. Now, design options can be extremely useful if we have certain alterations that we want to make in our project. That could be your boss coming over and saying, hey, let's study this method versus this method. So, design options lets you change or create options for your actual building without necessarily having to get rid of any of the components. So to start on that, we'll go up to the Manage tab and click on Design Options in the ribbon. When you do that, you'll see this menu appear. So you'll see the main model, which is basically what everything's on, and then you'll have an option set and options. So if I create an option set, I can rename this if I want to, and then this could be for your first floor, it could be for your second floor, and if you're working on a really big project, it could be building options. It could be one building versus two buildings and all different studies. In this case, I'm going to call this expansion. So I'll hit OK, and you can see now that I have one option currently listed, and it's called primary. Now, primary are basically your default settings that it always goes to. But don't worry too much now, I'll explain that more as we go over the visual side of things. But for now, I'll just rename option 1, and I'll call it smaller version. Actually, hold on. Let me call it smaller version option 1. Alright, and then I will create another option, and I will name that bigger version option 2. Alright, now you can always change what your primary is by selecting Make Primary, and you can switch that back and forth as you need to, again using that Make Primary option. But now I want to talk about what primary is. So if I hit Close, you'll see the main model, and you'll see that this bottom panel is set to the main model. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is that anything you build before you set design options will be built on this main model. So what that means is the core of your building, that is the main part that you design on the main model, won't change. And if you decide you want to move something over to your main model so it doesn't change, you can do that. So in this case, I'll start creating an expansion. So I'll scroll down a bit on my model, and then I'll type WA for wall, or go to the Architecture tab and select wall. And if I go to that box and change design option to smaller version, you'll see the main model grays out. But once I start building, the new construction doesn't appear grayed out, because it's being designed under that smaller version design option. So Revit gives you a quick visual cue so that you can recognize which design option you're creating under. Now, if we go back to the main model, you'll see that that new extension is showing as well. So now I'm going to go through, and instead of option 1, which, actually let me go back there, I'll add a door into this real fast. I'll add a double door. So we've got the door in there, and if we go back to main model, you'll be able to see it as well, and it's even visible in 3D. And let me see if I can orbit around so we can see the other side here. Alright, so you can see the expansion and the door that we added. Now, this is a very rough estimation. It's not level, but this is to teach you how design options work. But now if I go into bigger version, option 2, you'll see that that extension doesn't appear at all. So now under this option, I'm going to create a longer version of what I made. Alright, and I'll put a door in as well. Actually, I'll put 2 doors in, just so I can distinguish it further. But now, if we go back to the main model design option, you'll see that it's the option 1 floor plan that shows. You can see the reason for this if you go to the Manage tab and click Design Options. Or you can also access design options down at the bottom of the screen. Regardless, you'll see under the design options that our option 1 is primary. Now, depending on your view, your primary is what's going to show when you build on your main model. Now if, on the other hand, we make option 2 primary, Then, when we go back to the main model, option 2 will be showing. So option 1 will still appear under option 1, but under the main model, it's the primary that shows. Now keep in mind that whatever option you're on is what you can edit. So for instance, I can move this wall if I want to. Just drag it out a little bit. So I can modify my main model objects since I'm under the main model, but I can't do anything with my design option objects. And again, that's because we are not under one of the design options. So if you do want to make any changes to what you built under the design option, say taking out a door, then you actually have to enter into the design option under which it was built. Now if you're not sure what design option something was built under, sometimes you'll be able to access that information from the Properties window. So you can see there, design option, expansion bigger version. So if you don't know exactly that information, you're able to find it. Additionally, if you select something that was created under a design option, then go to the Manage tab, you can switch which option it's under from the Design Options panel. So keep that in mind, that you can adjust what design option different elements of your construction fall under. So if you want to move something to a different design option, all you have to do is click on it, and then you can adjust that as you need. And you can also add them to your set. So another important thing, design options not only affect your ability to modify your plan, but it also is going to influence visual graphics settings in terms of what you want to show. And we will cover that in greater detail when we talk about setting up sheets and in the next tutorial. Alright, thank you much, and I'll see you in the next video.